Hey everyone, hope you're doing great. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll dive into what if Naruto uncovered the truth behind all ninja wars. Smash that subscribe button, and be sure to peek at the description below. Let's begin. The waterfall of truth thundered. It was a deafening, white noise that seemed to exist not just in the ears, but in the bones. For Naruto Uzumaki, sitting cross-legged on the moss-slick stone platform in the center of the pool, the sound was a physical weight. The humidity of the land of lightning's hidden island was oppressive, clinging to his orange jumpsuit like a second skin. But the heat he felt wasn't from the air. It was internal, a searing, bubbling corrosive acid rising from his stomach. "Yo, fool, ya fool," Killer Bee's voice cut through the roar, though he stood on the distant bank. "Focus your mind, leave the doubt behind. The fox is waiting, gotta do some debating. Or fighting. Yeah, mostly fighting." Yamato stood beside the Jinchuriki, his wood-style-infused hands gripping the railing of the observation deck white-knuckled. "Naruto, be careful." Naruto didn't hear them. He was already falling. He had passed the first test. He had embraced the dark side of himself, the manifestation of his resentment and loneliness, and hugged it into submission. That had been the easy part. Accepting that he was hurt was one thing. Accepting the monster that had defined his entire existence was another. He closed his eyes. The roar of the waterfall faded, replaced by the dripping echo of a sewer, the mindscape. The water here was ankle-deep, lukewarm, and smelled of rust and old blood. Naruto stood before the massive golden gates, the paper seal fluttering in a wind that didn't exist. Behind the bars, the darkness breathed. Two slit pupils, the size of houses, slid open. They burned with a crimson hate so ancient it felt like radiation. "So," the Nine Tails rumbled. His voice vibrated through the floor, shaking Naruto's teeth. "You've come to take my power. You think because you made peace with your own petty insecurities, you can tame me?" Naruto stepped forward. He didn't grin. He didn't shout. He felt a strange, cold clarity. "I'm not here to tame you, Kurama. I'm here to stop running." "Kurama?" The fox let out a barking, cruel laugh that sent a shockwave of chakra slamming into the boy. "You use my name as if we are friends. We are not friends. We are jailer and prisoner, and today, the prisoner riots." "Let's go," Naruto whispered. He reached up and tore the seal off the gate. The explosion of malice was instant. It wasn't just wind, it was a physical force of hatred. The gate swung open, and the Kyuubi didn't hesitate. He didn't wait for Naruto to extract chakra. He launched an assault on the boy's mind. This was the tug-of-war. Naruto grabbed the spectral red chakra leaking from the fox, wrestling it, trying to pull the pure power into his own reserves while filtering out the will of the beast. It was like trying to drink from a fire hose that was spewing lava. Despair, pain, 1,000 years of being hunted, the feeling of chains, the coldness of a seal. "I won't give in!" Naruto roared, his own blue chakra flaring, forming a protective shell. He wrestled the red energy, converting it, bleaching it white. Suddenly, the darkness shifted. A new presence appeared, a woman with hair like red habaneros. Kushina Uzumaki. "Naruto!" She cried out, her spirit manifesting from the failsafe seal to aid him. Chains of adamantine shot from her back, pinning the fox down. "I'm here! Don't let go, Mom!" Naruto's heart lurched. This was it. The moment he would learn about his past. The moment of triumph. But as he looked at his mother, and then back at the fox, something went wrong. In the canon of history, Naruto would have listened to his mother, overpowered the fox, and claimed the power. But today, the connection was different. The training on the island of turtles had thinned the barrier between dimensions, and the sheer volume of hatred the fox was outputting was reacting strangely with the nature energy of the waterfall outside. Naruto pulled on the fox's chakra too hard. He didn't just pull the power. He pulled the psyche. "Wait!" The fox's eyes widened in genuine alarm. "Brat! Don't pull that deep. You'll drown in it. I'm taking everything!" Naruto screamed. The adamantine chains tightened. The blue chakra and the red chakra collided, but instead of separating, they fused. A bridge formed. Not a bridge of friendship, but a data link. The sewer vanished. Kushina vanished. The fox vanished. Naruto fell through the floor of his own mind. He fell past his childhood, past the swing set, past the ramen shop. He fell past the night of the attack on Konoha. He fell past the founding of the village. He fell into the abyss, the first stratum, the soil of war. Naruto slammed into the ground. He gasped, choking on air that tasted like ash. He wasn't in the sewer. He was standing in a rice paddy, but the water was red. The sky was a bruised purple, choked with smoke. He looked down at his hands. They were translucent. He was a ghost here. Where is this? You wanted my power, Kurama's voice echoed, not from outside, but from within Naruto's own skull. It sounded different, weary, ancient. Power is memory, boy. You are seeing what I have seen. You are seeing the cycle. Naruto looked up. In the distance, armies were clashing. He recognized the armor, the heavy plating of the warring states period. Uchiha fans and Senju trees emblazoned on backs. He saw a man who looked like Madara, but younger, cutting through a swath of Senju warriors. He saw Hashirama, his face stained with dirt, pleading for a ceasefire even as he summoned a forest to crush bones. This is the past, Naruto muttered. I know this. They fought until they made peace. Look closer, the voice commanded. Naruto zoomed in, his vision unnaturally sharp, enhanced by the fox's sensory abilities. He didn't look at the warriors. He looked at the edge of the battlefield. There, standing on a ridge, observing the slaughter, were 5 men in pristine silk robes. Daimyos. Feudal lords. They were drinking tea, protected by personal guards, watching the carnage like it was a sport. Behind the fire daimyo, a shadow moved. It wasn't a natural shadow cast by the sun. It was a black, amorphous sludge that rose from the ground. It possessed a single yellow eye. Naruto froze. What is that? He watched the shadow whisper into the ear of the daimyo's advisor. The advisor nodded, then turned to the daimyo. My lord, the advisor said, and Naruto could hear it clearly, as if he were standing next to them, the Senju are wavering. If we send more funds to the Uchiha now, the war will prolong another year. The iron mines in the north will remain under your control, and the weapon sales to the land of lightning will triple. The fire daimyo sipped his tea. Excellent. Ensure the hatred does not die. If they make peace, they might realize they are stronger than us. Send the gold. The shadow, the black creature, grinned. It sank back into the earth. Naruto felt a chill that had nothing to do with the wind. They didn't fight because they hated each other. They fought because they were being paid to hate each other. The second stratum, the brothers' pact. The scene shifted violently. The rice paddy dissolved into a temple. This was older. Ancient. The air felt thick with pure, unrefined chakra. Naruto saw a man floating cross-legged in the air. He had horns, pale skin, and the Rinnegan. The sage of 6 paths Hagoromo Otsutsuki. He looked exhausted. He was on his deathbed. 2 young men stood before him. Indra and Azura. I leave the path of Nishu to you, Azura, Hagoromo wheezed. Connect people's hearts. Indra turned away, fist clenched, eyes spinning with the Manjikyu Sharingan. He stormed out of the temple. Naruto followed Indra. He wanted to scream at him, to tell him to go back. But he was a spectator. Indra walked into the woods, punching a tree, screaming in rage. It is unfair, isn't it? The voice was slithering. From the bark of the tree, the black sludge emerged again. Black Zetsu. Who are you? Indra hissed, lightning crackling in his hand. I am the will of the world, the creature lied. Its voice was smooth, hypnotic. Your father fears your power. He chose your weak brother because he wants to control the world through weakness. But you have the eyes of a god. You could force peace. You could make them behave. Indra lowered his hand. The validation was a drug. Force peace. Destroy Azura, the shadow whispered. Burn his philosophy. Only power matters. If you do not strike, he will erase your existence. Naruto watched as the black slime seeped into Indra's shadow, stretching it, darkening it. He has been there since the beginning, Kurama's voice narrated. The tick on the dog's back. We tailed beasts, we are just chakra. We drift. We watch. I have watched that thing orchestrate every major conflict for 1,000 years. Why? Naruto screamed into the void. Why do this? To harvest, Kurama replied. The third stratum, the red harvest. The world dissolved again. Now, Naruto stood on an island he vaguely recognized. The architecture was spiral-themed, Yuzushio-gakure. The village of the whirlpool. The home of his mother. It was burning. The sky was black with smoke. Combined forces from Kumo, Kiri, and Iwa were ravaging the streets. But the Uzumaki were strong. Their sealing chains were holding back armies. Naruto ran through the streets of his ancestral home. He saw an old man, an Uzumaki elder with white hair and a red beard, running not toward the battle, but toward a hidden archive. Naruto followed him. The elder burst into a stone chamber, and slammed a massive scroll onto a table. He was bleeding from the side. They are coming, the elder gasped, dipping a brush in his own blood to write. We found it. We found the pattern. Naruto looked over the elder's shoulder. The scroll was a map of history. It tracked chakra spikes over centuries. First Great War, 80% casualty rate. Massive release of negative chakra. Second Great War, 60% casualty rate. Despair index peak. Conclusion, the ghetto statue is feeding. The wars are not political, the elder wrote frantically. They are agricultural. Someone is farming the chakra released by death to ripen a fruit. We must warn Konoha. We must warn Mito. The door exploded inward. A squad of ANBU from Kirigakure entered. But their eyes were glazed over. Controlled. And behind them, watching from the cracks in the floorboards, was the black Zetsu. Too close to the truth, red hairs, the shadow mocked softly. The mother needs quiet to sleep. The elder turned, his hands forming a seal. You are the shadow in the history books, and you are extinct. The Kiri ninja lunged. The elder didn't fight back. Instead, he slapped a seal onto the scroll, phasing it into the stone floor, hiding it deep within the island's foundation. A time capsule. Naruto. The name wasn't spoken by the elder, but Naruto felt the connection. That scroll was still there. Waiting, Naruto watched his ancestor die. He watched the village of whirlpools fall not because they were too powerful, but because they had figured out the game. The fourth stratum, the dollhouse. The final vision hit Naruto the hardest. He was in a cave. A damp, dark cave illuminated by a single candle. He saw a boy with half his face crushed. Obito Uchiha. He was hanging from the ghetto statue, recovering. Madara Uchiha, ancient and withered, sat on a throne of roots. I want to go back to Konoha, Obito said. I have to save Rin and Kakashi. You are too weak, Madara wheezed. I'll crawl if I have to. Madara closed his eyes. Go then. Obito scrambled out. But Naruto stayed. He watched Madara turn his head to the empty ground. Is the mist ready? Madara asked. White Setsu clones emerged from the walls. Yes. The girl, Rin, has been captured by Kiri. We have implanted the three tails. We have programmed the mist ninja to chase her toward Kakashi and the boy. And the timing? Perfect. Black Setsu emerged from Madara's own shadow. Obito will arrive exactly when Kakashi is forced to kill her. The trauma will break his mind. His Sharingan will evolve. He will become your pawn. Madara nodded, satisfied. Good. The boy needs despair to understand the infinite Tsukuyami. Break him. Naruto fell to his knees. It wasn't an accident. Rin's death. Obito's fall. The attack on Konoha. His parents' death. His own isolation. The Akatsuki. It was a play. A script written by a dead man and a shadow monster to create enough misery to enslave the world. It's all fake, Naruto whispered. The tears that fell from his eyes in the mindscape burned like acid. My pain. Sasuke's pain. It was manufactured. Yes, Kurama said. The vision faded. Now you see. The Akatsuki think they are bringing peace through pain. The allied shinobi forces think they are fighting for freedom. But they are all just dancing in the palm of a creature that wants to eat this planet. The darkness swirled, and suddenly, Naruto was back in the sewer. The awakening. The water in the sewer was calm now. The golden gate was gone. Kurama sat on his haunches, his tail swishing lazily behind him. He looked down at Naruto. The boy was kneeling in the water, his head bowed. The vibrant, sunshine yellow aura of the Nine-Tails chakra mode flickered around Naruto, but the warmth was gone. It was a cold, precise nuclear burn. "Mom!" Naruto whispered. Kushina's spirit flickered into existence beside him. She looked worried. She hadn't seen what he saw. She had only seen him struggle, and then succeed. "Naruto? You did it! You took control!" She reached out to hug him. Naruto didn't hug back immediately. He trembled. The rage he felt wasn't the hot, explosive temper he was known for. It was a glacier. It was a deep, absolute zero resolve that settled in the marrow of his bones. He stood up and looked at his mother. He forced a smile. It was the hardest thing he had ever done. "Yeah, Mom. I did it." "You're shaking," Kushina said, cupping his face. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," Naruto lied. He couldn't tell her. He couldn't tell her that her sacrifice was engineered. That Minato died for a lie. He wouldn't taint her final moments with the horror of the truth. I wish you could stay. I love you, Naruto." She faded, her chakra exhausted. "Be the Hokage, be the hero." She vanished. Naruto stood alone with the fox. The silence stretched for a long time. "Kurama," Naruto said. His voice was different. Deeper. The goofy cadence of the prankster was gone. "What is it, Fleshbag?" "You knew." "I suspected. I saw pieces. I am a mass of chakra. I remember every host, every era. But I never cared enough to put the puzzle together. Humans kill humans. It makes no difference to me who pulls the string. It makes a difference to me." Naruto looked up. His blue eyes had shifted. The pupils were vertical slits, but the irises weren't red, they were a piercing, golden orange. The Sage Mode and Kyuubi chakra were merging, catalyzed by the truth. "I'm going to kill it," Naruto said. "Madara?" "No. The shadow. Zetsu." Naruto clenched his fist. The water around him boiled. "I'm going to kill the shadow. I'm going to burn the script." Kurama grinned, exposing rows of razor-sharp teeth. "The Alliance won't understand. They are fighting a war to save a system that was built to farm them. If you go rogue, they will hunt you. Let them try." Naruto turned his back on the fox. "Are you with me? Or do you want to be a battery for the ghetto statue again?" Kurama looked at the boy. For the first time in centuries, he didn't see a jailer. He saw a predator. He saw someone who was finally angry enough to burn the world down to save it. "I hate you humans," Kurama rumbled, rising to his full height. "But I hate that black sludge more. Let's show them what a real calamity looks like." The physical world. Naruto's eyes snapped open. "Yo! He's back!" Killer Bee cheered, spinning a notebook. "Did you tame the beast? Did you ace the test? Give us a sign, show us your chest." Yamato exhaled a breath he had been holding for an hour. "Naruto! You're glowing!" Naruto stood up. He was indeed glowing. The Nine-Tails chakra mode coated him in flames, intricate seal markings swirling across his body. He felt the power coursing through him, speed, strength, sensory perception that expanded to cover the entire island. But he didn't give a thumbs up. He didn't shout, "Dadabayo!" He simply stared at the waterfall. With his new senses, he could feel the war starting across the ocean. He could feel thousands of chakra signatures moving to their deaths. He could feel the white setsus underground, moving like termites. He turned to Yamato and B. "We need to leave," Naruto said. "Leave?" Yamato blinked. "Naruto, we have to keep you safe here until the war is." "The war is a lie, Captain Yamato," Naruto interrupted. Yamato froze. "What?" Naruto looked at his hands. He could feel the memory of the Uzumaki elder dying to protect the scroll. He knew where he had to go. Not to the battlefield. "Not yet. I'm not staying in this cage," Naruto said softly. "Naruto, wait!" Yamato stepped forward, wood growing from his shoulder. "If you try to leave, I have orders to restrain you." Naruto looked at Yamato. In a flash of yellow light, faster than the flying Raijin, purely physical speed, Naruto was behind him. Yamato gasped, realizing Naruto hadn't even attacked. He had just moved. Don't get in my way, Captain, Naruto said, his back to Yamato. I have to go to the land of whirlpools. Whirlpools? Why? He asked, dropping his rat persona. That place is ruins, man. Nothing but ghosts. Exactly, Naruto said. The ghosts have something to tell me. He crouched. The stone beneath his feet cracked. Tell Grandma Tsunade I'm sorry, Naruto said. But I'm doing this my way. Boom. Naruto launched himself into the air, shattering the sound barrier, leaving a crater in the waterfall of truth. He was a streak of golden fire across the sky, heading not toward the Alliance, but toward the ruins of his ancestors. He was done playing the hero. It was time to become the detective, and the first clue lay in the blood-soaked soil of Uzushigakure. The ocean was a blur of sapphire and white foam beneath his feet, but Naruto Uzumaki wasn't looking at the water. He was looking at the horizon, his eyes burning with a focus that felt foreign to his own soul. He was moving fast. Faster than he had ever moved in his life. The Nine-Tails chakra mode, a shroud of burning, golden energy, enveloped him, casting a harsh, flickering light against the overcast sky. To the naked eye, he was nothing more than a golden flash, a lightning bolt skimming the surface of the sea. But inside the golden shroud, the boy was cold. The sensory overload of the new mode was staggering. He could feel everything. He could feel the terrified heartbeats of the animals on the island of turtles fading behind him. He could feel the chaotic, muddled chakra signatures of the allied shinobi forces gathering miles away. He could feel the malice, the sticky, tar-like intent of the White Setsu army moving beneath the earth like a colony of termites devouring the world's foundation. Hey! Naruto! The voice boomed from behind, accompanied by the splashing of water. Naruto didn't stop, but his sensory field picked up the pursuer instantly. Yamato, and behind him, the distinct, rhythmic rapping of Killer Bee. Yo! Stop the flow, don't be a foe! Bee shouted, his voice amplified by chakra. The war is that way, you're going astray. Turn around now, or there's gonna be a fray. Naruto grit his teeth. He didn't want to fight them. They were good men. They were soldiers who thought they were fighting for the survival of humanity. They didn't know they were just toy soldiers being smashed together by a bored child in the shadows. I said stop. Wood-style pillars erupted from the ocean surface, spiraling up like twisting serpents to block Naruto's path. Naruto didn't even slow down. He didn't weave a hand sign. He simply willed a chakra arm to extend from his shoulder. The golden limb moved with the speed of thought, smashing through the wooden pillars as if they were made of dry twigs. Splinters rained down into the ocean. Captain Yamato! Naruto shouted back, his voice carried by the wind. Go back to the island. You can't help me where I'm going. We can't let you leave. Yamato yelled, desperate. The Raikage's orders are absolute. You are the asset we have to protect. Asset. The word tasted like ash in Naruto's mouth. That's all Jinchuriki had ever been. Assets. Nuclear deterrence. Batteries. I'm not an asset, Naruto muttered to himself. I'm the guy who's going to break the bank. He pushed more chakra into his legs. The water beneath him vaporized instantly upon contact, creating a trail of steam. He accelerated, the sonic boom flattening the waves behind him, leaving Yamato and Bee in the mist. The interception. He made it 20 miles before the heavy hitters arrived. Naruto felt them before he saw them. Two massive chakra signatures dropping from the sky like meteors. One was jagged and electric, the Raikage. The other was fluid but immense, the Hokage Tsunade. They landed on the water in front of him with enough force to create a tidal wave. Naruto skidded to a halt, the golden flames around him flaring defensively. The wave settled. The fourth Raikage stood tall, lightning armor crackling around his body, his hair bristling with static. Beside him, Tsunade looked torn, her eyes wide with a mixture of relief and stern duty. Naruto! Tsunade barked. What do you think you're doing? The war has started. You are to remain in confinement. Confinement, Naruto repeated. He looked at the woman he considered a grandmother. He saw the genuine fear in her eyes, fear for him, not of him. She wanted to keep him safe. That made it hurt more. Granny, Naruto said, his voice surprisingly calm amidst the roaring ocean winds. Why are we fighting this war? Tsunade blinked, taken aback by the question. To protect you. To protect the 8 tails. To stop Akatsuki from resurrecting the 10 tails. And what happens after? Naruto asked. Say we win. Say we kill Madara. What happens 5 years from now? 10 years? We have peace, Tsunade insisted. No, Naruto shook his head. We have a recession. The economies of the great nations crash because they aren't producing weapons anymore. The daimyos get bored. They cut funding to the hidden villages. And then, a shadow whispers in the earth daimyo's ear that the lightning daimyo is encroaching on trade routes. And we start again. Brat. The Raikage roared, his patience evaporating. This is no time for philosophy. You are a child who knows nothing of the world. You will return to the island, or I will break your legs and drag you back. Disappeared. It was the body flicker technique combined with lightning release armor. To a normal ninja, he would have simply vanished. But Naruto wasn't normal anymore. In the slow-motion world of the Nine Tails chakra mode, Naruto watched the Raikage move. He saw the muscles in A's leg contract. He saw the lightning arc from his shoulder to his fist. He calculated the trajectory. The Raikage appeared inches from Naruto's face, a fist aimed squarely at his gut, a blow meant to incapacitate. Naruto didn't block. He didn't dodge. He stepped into it. He moved slightly to the left, letting the Raikage's fist graze his ribs, and slammed his own palm onto the Raikage's chest. Rasengan. He didn't form it with a clone. He didn't spin it up. He simply extruded the chakra from his palm instantly. Boom! The impact was thunderous. The Raikage was blasted backward, skipping across the water like a stone for 300 meters before digging his heels in to stop. Silence descended on the ocean. Tsunade's jaw dropped. The Raikage, the fastest man alive, had been countered. Stood up, steam rising from his chest armor. He wasn't badly hurt. His durability was legendary, but his pride was bruised. He looked at Naruto with new eyes. That speed. Yellow Flash? I'm not my father, Naruto said. And I'm not a weapon you can lock away until you need to point me at something. Naruto, Tsunade stepped forward, her voice trembling. What is going on with you? Your eyes. Naruto touched his face. He knew his pupils were slits. I saw something, Granny. In the waterfall. I saw the history of this world. Not the one they teach in the academy. The real one. What are you talking about? Madara isn't the enemy, Naruto said, his voice dropping to a whisper that carried over the waves. Madara is a pawn. Obito is a pawn. Pain was a pawn. Even you. You're just pieces on a board that's been rigged for 1,000 years. He looked at the Raikage. You want to protect the world? Then let me go. Because the thing we need to kill isn't on the battlefield. It's hiding in the roots. I cannot let a loose cannon roam free. I charged up his lightning again. Maximum power. I will not make the mistake of underestimating you again, Naruto sighed. He looked at the sun, estimating the time. He couldn't waste energy here. Kurama, he spoke internally. Give me a boost. Don't order me around, brat, the fox grumbled, though the chakra surged obediently. But I admit, seeing the Raikage look that stupid is worth the chakra cost. Naruto's golden aura spiked. The water around him depressed into a bowl shape from the sheer pressure. I'm sorry, Granny, Naruto said. I'll explain everything when I get back. Make sure you don't die. Before the Raikage could take a second step, Naruto moved. This time, it wasn't just speed. It was pure displacement. He flashed past Tsunade, past the Raikage, moving so fast that the wind pressure knocked Tsunade off her feet. Wait! She screamed. But he was gone. A golden streak vanishing into the northern horizon, heading toward the land of whirlpools. The Raikage stared at the empty ocean, the lightning around him fading. He outran me. Tsunade stood up, wiping sea spray from her face. She looked at the direction Naruto had fled. She felt a chill. It wasn't the power that scared her. It was the look in his eyes. The look of a man who had seen the bottom of the abyss and decided to dive back in. The journey, the land of whirlpools, was not close. Even at his speed, it was a journey of hours. Naruto maintained a steady pace, skimming the water. The adrenaline of the confrontation faded, replaced by the grim reality of his mission. You handled that well, Kurama's voice echoed in his mind. Though you were soft. You should have crippled the Raikage. He will come after you. He's an ally, Kurama. Just a misguided one. Misguided, the fox scoffed. That man has authorized the kidnapping of children for bloodlines. He has started border skirmishes for profit. Do not paint him as a saint just because he fights Madara now. I know, Naruto said darkly. I saw the ledger in the vision. The Cloud Village accepted 3 contracts from the Lightning Daimyo to destabilize the Land of Water 10 years ago. It's all business. Naruto hopped over a massive wave, his feet glowing. Tell me about Uzushiogakure, Naruto asked. You were around when it fell. I was sealed inside Mito Uzumaki then, Kurama replied, his voice taking on a reflective tone. The Whirlpool Village, it was a strange place. Loud. Vibrant. They were savages compared to Konoha, in a way. They didn't care for politics. They just loved their seals and their long lives. Why were they destroyed? The official story is that they were too powerful. That the other nations feared their sealing jutsu could neutralize tailed beasts, so they banded together to wipe them out. And the truth? The truth is that they were the jailers of the truth, Kurama said. The Uzumaki clan specialized in studying the flow of energy. Not just chakra, but the soul. They were the only ones who developed seals capable of interacting with the pure land, the afterlife. The Reaper Death Seal comes from them. Naruto's eyes narrowed. They were studying souls? They were studying the cycle of reincarnation, Kurama corrected. And in doing so, they noticed the anomalies. They noticed that certain souls lingered, that the chakra in the world wasn't recycling naturally. It was being hoarded. The Geto statue, Naruto realized. Yes. They began to track the massive deficits in natural energy. They realized the wars were harvesting rituals. And right before they could publish their findings to the other Kage, the order came down. Wipe them out. Leave no stone standing. Naruto clenched his fists. The wind whipped at his face. They killed my mother's people to cover up a farming operation. Yes. Then I'm going to make sure their research didn't die with them. The ruins of Uzushiogakure. The sun was setting when Naruto arrived. The sky was a bruised purple, casting long, jagged shadows over the turbulent sea that surrounded the island. The whirlpools that gave the land its name were still there, massive, swirling vortexes of water that acted as a natural defense. But the bridge that once spanned them was gone, shattered decades ago. Naruto leaped across the expanse, landing on the rocky shore of the island. He deactivated the Nine Tails chakra mode. He needed to conserve energy, but more importantly, he wanted to see this with his own eyes. The silence was absolute. Ruins stretched out before him. Massive stone towers, crumbling and covered in moss. Streets cracked by tree roots. The symbol of the spiral, the crest on the back of every Konoha flak jacket, was carved into every surface, faded by time and rain. It was a graveyard. Naruto walked through the main street. He saw blast marks on the walls that were decades old. He saw rusted kunai embedded in stone. He saw a child's sandal, half buried in the dirt, petrified by the elements. He felt a profound sense of loss. This was his inheritance. This was where he should have had cousins, aunts, uncles. This should have been a home. Where is it? Naruto whispered. The memories I showed you were from the perspective of the environment, and my own sensing, Kurama said. The archive was under the central shrine. The one with the double helix spires. Naruto looked up. In the center of the ruins, on a high hill, stood the remains of a grand temple. One spire had collapsed, but the other stood defiantly against the wind. Naruto ran up the steps, his heart pounding. The temple was a shell. The roof had caved in, letting the moonlight filter through onto the overgrown floor. The elder in the vision, Naruto murmured, closing his eyes, trying to recall the specific details of the flashback. He ran to the back. Behind the altar, Naruto walked to the stone altar. It was cracked in half. Behind it was a blank stone wall. There's no door, Naruto said. It's a barrier, idiot, Kurama chided. An Uzumaki blood barrier. It requires a specific chakra signature to open. Or, an overwhelming amount of brute force. No brute force, Naruto said. I'm not destroying what's left. He bit his thumb. I'm an Uzumaki, he said. Let's hope that's enough. He slammed his bloody palm against the cold stone. He didn't just push physical blood, he pushed his chakra. His own chakra, suppressing Kurama's. He pushed the feeling of his mother he had experienced in the seal. The stone drank his blood. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a low hum vibrated through the floor. The carvings on the wall, spirals within spirals, began to glow a faint, dying blue. Click. Thud. The wall didn't slide open. It dissolved. The stone rearranged itself, folding backward like origami, revealing a dark staircase leading down into the earth. The air that rushed out was stale, smelling of old paper and ozone. Naruto ignited a small ball of Rasengan in his hand for light, not for combat, but as a lantern. He descended. The sanguine scroll. The chamber was small, circular, and shockingly pristine. Preservation seals lined the walls, keeping the moisture and rot at bay. In the center of the room was a single podium made of black obsidian. And on it sat a scroll. It wasn't a normal scroll. It was massive, the size of a man's torso, wrapped in red leather that had darkened to the color of dried blood. Naruto approached it reverently. This is it, he whispered. The sanguine scroll. He reached out. The leather was cold. He unbuckled the clasp. The scroll unrolled with a heavy thwack. It was covered in handwriting, frantic, jagged strokes of ink. There were diagrams, charts, and maps of the elemental nations covered in red X's. Naruto began to read. Year 45 post-founding. Author, Ashina Uzumaki, clan head. Subject, the anomalous chakra drain. We have confirmed the theory. The great wars are not random. They are cyclical events synchronized with the movement of the Gedo statue. Subject Alpha. We tracked the chakra signatures of the dead from the Battle of Canopy Bridge. The souls did not return to the Pure Land immediately. Their chakra was siphoned underground, traveling through root systems to a central point in the mountains of Graveyard. Naruto scrolled down. The economy of despair. We have intercepted missives between the Fire Daimyo and a mysterious advisor known only as the Black Aloe. The advisor suggests policies that increase poverty rates in border towns. High poverty leads to radicalization. Radicalization leads to mercenary work. Mercenary work leads to conflict. The conflict feeds the statue. It is a farm. The shinobi are the crops. The tailed beasts are the fertilizer. The intended harvest is a fruit of chakra, capable of granting immortality and absolute dominion. Naruto's hands shook. Seeing it in the vision was one thing. Reading the scientific breakdown, the cold hard data of his ancestors, was another. It made it real. He turned the parchment to a section titled, The Observer. There was a drawing. It was crude, but the silhouette was unmistakable. The Venus flytrap head. The singular eye. Entity Zetsu. Nature, artificial construct. Ability, phase shifting, possession, would release. Weakness, unknown. However, the entity avoids high concentrations of natural energy, senjutsu, and seems invisible to all dojutsu except the fully matured Rinnegan. It manipulates the Uchiha specifically, rewriting their stone tablet to encourage the infinite Tsukuyomi. The tablet, Naruto breathed. Sasuke's tablet. He remembered Sasuke telling him about the Uchiha stone tablet in the Naka shrine. How it held the secrets of the clan. How it said the only way to peace was the infinite Tsukuyomi. It was changed, Naruto realized. Black Zetsu changed the writing to trick the Uchiha into reviving Kaguya. He scrolled to the very end. The ink here was splattered, written in haste. They are here. Kirigakure has breached the outer perimeter. The Mizukage is under a genjutsu. I sense the disturbance in his chakra network perfectly. It is the same signature as the observer. We are being purged. To whoever finds this, do not trust the villages. Do not trust the Kage. They are unknowingly complicit. The system of shinobi is the mechanism of the harvest. If you wish to save the world, you must not play by its rules. You must burn the board. Ashina Uzumaki. Naruto let the scroll roll back up. The silence in the room was heavy. Well, Kurama said, his voice unusually soft. There it is. Proof. Yeah. Naruto picked up the scroll. It was heavy, laden with the weight of a dead civilization. He strapped it to his back. They died for this, Naruto said. They died so someone could find this. What now, Naruto? You have the truth. But you are one boy against the world. Even with my power, you cannot fight the Alliance, the Akatsuki, and the Zetsu armies simultaneously. Naruto turned to leave the chamber. As he climbed the stairs, emerging back into the ruined temple, he looked up at the moon. It was full and bright, the eye of the moon. I can't fight them all alone, Naruto admitted. I need someone who can see what I can't. Someone who has the eyes to read the lies. The Uchiha, Kurama growled. You want to recruit the brat? He's insane. He wants to destroy Konoha. He wants to destroy Konoha because he thinks they took everything from him, Naruto explained, walking out of the temple. He thinks Itachi was forced to kill the clan for political stability. He thinks Danzo was the root of the evil, but if I show him this... Naruto patted the scroll. If I show him that the Uchiha weren't killed for politics, but because they were getting close to uncovering Zetsu. If I show him that his entire curse of hatred was engineered by a slime monster, he might snap completely, Kurama warned. Or, Naruto countered, he might finally focus that hatred on the right target. Naruto activated his sensory mode again. He expanded his range to the absolute limit, straining his mind. He looked not for the war, but for the coldest, sharpest chakra signature in the world. He found it, moving rapidly through the land of fire. Dark, cold, and immensely powerful. The eternal Manjikyu Sharingan had awakened. Found you, Naruto whispered. He will try to kill you, Kurama reminded him. Let him try, Naruto said. I'm not going there to talk about friendship. I'm going there to make a deal. The observer in the shadows. Naruto prepared to launch himself, to speed toward the land of fire. But he stopped. His sensory mode, heightened by the natural energy of the ruins, picked up a flicker. A distortion in the ground 10 meters to his left. It was almost imperceptible. Like a drop of water falling into a pond. Naruto didn't turn his head. He didn't give away that he had noticed. Kurama, he thought. Did you feel that? Yes. Beneath the rubble. A rat. It was a white Zetsu scout. It had been merged with the stone, recording Naruto's visit to the ruins. It had likely seen him enter the barrier. If that Zetsu escaped, the enemy would know that Naruto knew. The element of surprise would be lost. I can't let it leave, Naruto thought. Hey! Naruto shouted aloud, feigning frustration. This place is a dump. I can't find anything. He kicked a rock, acting petulant. The presence underground shifted slightly, preparing to retreat. Naruto moved. He didn't use a Rasengan. He didn't use a flashy jutsu. He dropped to one knee and punched the ground. Frog kata, using the principles of Sage Mode, which he could now access instantaneously thanks to his harmony with Kurama. He sent a shockwave of natural energy deep into the earth. The energy wasn't physical force. It was a disrupting wave that targeted foreign chakra. Crack. The ground 10 meters away exploded upwards. A white, humanoid creature was thrown into the air, its body contorted in pain as the natural energy disrupted its control over the wood release. Ga! The white Zetsu screeched. Naruto was on it instantly. He grabbed the creature by the throat midair. The Zetsu stared at him with wide, hollow eyes. You sensed me? Naruto's face was inches from the creature. His eyes were cold, glowing with a mix of sage gold and QB red. I can smell the rot on you, Naruto whispered. Madara will. Madara doesn't know you're here, Naruto interrupted. Does he? You report to the Black One. The Zetsu's expression shifted from fear to shock. How do you? Tell your master, Naruto said, his grip tightening, his chakra beginning to incinerate the creature's white flesh, that the harvest is cancelled. Wait. No. Naruto released a pulse of yang chakra. The white Zetsu didn't just die, it disintegrated. It turned into a tree, which rapidly withered and turned to dust, its life force forcefully extracted. Naruto landed softly on the ground, dusting off his hands. Ruthless, Kurama noted. I like it. He was a spy, Naruto said. If he reported back, Zetsu might have accelerated his plans. Or killed Sasuke before I got there. Naruto looked at the pile of dust. He felt a strange lack of remorse. These things, they weren't people. They were extensions of the parasite. He turned back to the west. To the land of fire. Sasuke is on the move, Naruto said. He's hunting Danzo's ghost, or maybe he's heading for the battlefield to kill Naruto Uzumaki. Probably the latter. Good, Naruto grinned, a sharp, feral expression. It saves me the trouble of chasing him. He flared his chakra again. The golden cloak erupted, illuminating the ruins of Uzushiobikyo one last time. Let's go, Kurama. We have Uchiha to wake up. Boom. Naruto vanished. Scene break. The shadows confusion. Miles away, deep underground in the roots of the ghetto statue, Black Zetsu sat motionless. He was currently attached to the White Zetsu army, monitoring the deployment. He paused. One of his scouts, Unit 74, stationed in the ruins of Uzushio as a precaution, had gone silent. It wasn't unusual for scouts to be destroyed by wandering ninja or wild animals. But the signal had vanished instantly. No distress call. No data transmission. Strange, Black Zetsu rasped. What is it? Tobi, Obito, asked, adjusting his mask as he prepared to head to the battlefield to capture the 8 and 9 tails. Nothing, Zetsu lied smoothly. Just a minor fluctuation in the sensor grid. Likely a rock slide. He wouldn't worry Obito with details. The Uzumaki ruins were empty. They had been empty for decades. He had made sure of that personally. Focus on the war, Zetsu commanded. Bring me the 9 tails. I will, Obito said, his voice deep and hollow. This world ends tonight. Obito warped away with Kamui. Black Zetsu remained in the darkness. He felt a nagging itch in the back of his mind. A tiny seed of doubt. Why did the signal vanish so quickly? He dismissed it. It didn't matter. The board was set. The pieces were moving. The resurrection of Mother was inevitable. He didn't see the golden streak crossing the ocean. He didn't see the sanguine scroll strapped to the back of the boy who was supposed to be the idiot hero. He didn't know that the player across the table had just looked at the cards. The forest was silent, save for the crunch of sandals on dead leaves and the low, rhythmic humming of power that seemed to emanate from the very air. Sasuke Uchiha walked through the dense woodlands of the land of hot water. He moved with a languid, predatory grace. The bandages that had covered his eyes for days were gone, discarded on the floor of the mountain graveyard hideout. He blinked. The world looked different. Before, with his failing eyesight, the world had been a blur of gray shapes and muted light. Now, with Itachi's eyes implanted into his own sockets, the clarity was excruciating. He could see the veins in the leaves of a tree 50 meters away. He could see the dust motes dancing in a shaft of sunlight. He could see the flow of chakra in the air, wild and chaotic, drifting from the distant battlefields. The eternal Manjikyu Sharingan. He raised a hand to his face. The power thrumming behind his eyes wasn't just vision. It was a reservoir of cold, dark fluid that wanted to spill out. It whispered to him. Burn it. Burn it all. Konoha, Sasuke whispered. The word was a curse. He had killed the White Zetsu clones that had been guarding him. They were annoying. Their chatter about the war, about capturing the 8 and 9 tails, bored him. He wasn't interested in Tobi's war. He wasn't interested in the infinite Tsukuyami, whatever that was. He was interested in the screams of the village elders. He was interested in painting the Hokage monument red. He stepped into a clearing. The wind shifted. Sasuke stopped. His new eyes narrowed, the complex geometric patterns spinning lazily in blood-red irises. Come out, Sasuke said. His voice was flat, devoid of surprise. The air in the center of the clearing shimmered. It wasn't a shunshin. It was pure speed, a displacement of air so violent it created a vacuum. A figure landed in a crouch. Golden flames licked at his silhouette, casting long, dancing shadows against the trees. The chakra pressure was immense, heavy enough to crack the stone beneath the figure's feet. Sasuke stared. He recognized the orange jumpsuit, but he didn't recognize the aura. Or the face. The face was hardened. Gone was the desperate, pleading look of the boy at the bridge. In its place was the cold, analyzing stare of a veteran. Naruto, Sasuke said. He let a smirk touch his lips. You've gotten brighter. A new nightlight? Naruto Uzumaki stood up. The golden chakra of the 9 tails mode swirled around him, but he didn't shout. He didn't point a finger. He didn't scream about bringing Sasuke home. Sasuke, Naruto replied. His voice was low. You have Itachi's eyes. Sasuke's smirk vanished. The mention of his brother was a trigger, a spark in a room full of gasoline. And what if I do? Have you come to lecture me? Have you come to tell me about the will of fire before I kill you? No lectures, Naruto said. He reached behind his back. Sasuke tensed. He expected a kunai. He expected a Rasengan. Naruto pulled out a scroll. It was old, wrapped in dark red leather, radiating a faint, ancient sealing chakra. I have a delivery, Naruto said. Sasuke stared at him, genuinely confused for a fraction of a second. Then, the rage returned. You think this is a game? You think you can just walk up to me, while the world is at war, and hand me a gift? It's not a gift, Naruto said. It's evidence. I don't care what you have, Sasuke hissed. Chakra flared around him. It wasn't the golden warmth of Naruto's. It was a deep, purple bruise on reality. The ribcage of the Susanoo erupted from his spine, skeletal and terrifying. I'm going to Konoha. Get out of my way, or I will test these new eyes on your corpse. You're not going to Konoha, Naruto said. He didn't flinch as the massive spectral skeleton loomed over him. And you're not going to the battlefield. Because if you do, you're just doing exactly what it wants. It? Sasuke stepped forward, the Susanoo arm forming, gripping a skeletal blade. Stop speaking in riddles. Read the scrolls, Sasuke. Die. Sasuke swung. The Susanoo blade, large enough to cleave a building, swept down. It was faster than it had been at the 5 Kage summit. Much faster. But Naruto was faster. He didn't dodge. A golden chakra arm exploded from Naruto's shoulder, catching the massive blade mid-swing. The ground beneath Naruto shattered, a crater forming instantly, but Naruto didn't buckle. He held the Susanoo blade in place with a single chakra limb. Sasuke's eyes widened. He blocked it? With one arm? I told you, Naruto said, his eyes locking onto Sasuke's manjikyu. I'm not here to fight. But if you want to dance, I'll lead. The clash of ideologies, Sasuke snarled. The insult stung. He pushed more chakra into his eyes. The Susanoo evolved instantly, flesh knitting over bone, armor plating forming. It grew darker, taller. He drew back a massive purple arrow on a spectral bow. Enten, Kagetsuchi. Black flames ignited on the arrowhead. Amaterasu shaped into a weapon. Burn away, Naruto, he fired. The arrow flew at Mach speed, a bolt of absolute death. Naruto didn't weave a sign. He merely shifted his weight. The golden coating on his body flared brighter. He moved to the side, a movement so subtle and quick it looked like he had phased through reality. The arrow slammed into the forest behind him, incinerating an acre of trees in silent black fire. Naruto was already moving. He closed the distance in a blink. Sasuke panicked. Too fast. He tried to track Naruto, but the boy was a blur. Naruto appeared inside the guard of the Susanoo, slipping through a gap in the skeletal structure before it fully solidified. Sasuke drew a katana from his hip, infusing it with Chidori. He thrust at Naruto's chest. Naruto caught the blade's edge between his thumb and forefinger. The golden chakra skin acted as an impenetrable armor. The lightning screeched, trying to pierce him, but failed. Look at me! Naruto shouted, his voice finally rising, cracking with frustration. Look at me, Sasuke! I'm not fighting to capture you. I'm fighting to wake you up. I am awake! Sasuke screamed, abandoning the sword and charging a Chidori in his left hand. I see the darkness of the village. I see the rot. You see a puppet show. Naruto roared back. He slammed his forehead against Sasuke's. It was a headbutt, brutal and simple. No jutsu. Just bone on bone. Sasuke reeled back, his vision swimming, the Chidori dissipating. He stumbled, the Susanoo flickering and fading. He gasped, clutching his forehead. Naruto stood there, panting slightly. The golden mode faded, leaving him in his standard appearance, though his eyes remained the vertical slits of the fox. He reached down and picked up the red scroll he had dropped. You think your clan was killed because of politics, Naruto said, his breathing heavy. You think Danzo was the mastermind. You think the third Hokage was weak. They were. Sasuke spat, blood trickling down his forehead. They were pieces, Naruto corrected. Just like you. Just like Itachi, he threw the scroll. It sailed through the air and landed at Sasuke's feet. Open it, Naruto commanded. It's from the ruins of Uzushiogakure. My mother's village. It was written 40 years ago by the head of the Uzumaki clan. Sasuke stared at the scroll. He wanted to burn it with Amaterasu. He wanted to kill Naruto and move on. But the mention of 40 years ago paused him. Why should I read your trash? Because it talks about the tablet, Naruto said softly. The stone tablet in the Naka shrine. The one only the Uchiha can read. Sasuke froze. How do you know about that? Sasuke whispered. Only the clan knew. Only Itachi and my father. Read it. Sasuke hesitated. The forest was burning behind them from the Amaterasu arrow, the black flames consuming the wood. The heat was intense, but neither boy moved. Slowly, warily, Sasuke knelt. He kept one eye on Naruto, his Sharingan still active. He reached out and unrolled the scroll. The truth of the tablet. The handwriting was jagged, desperate. Sasuke scanned the preamble about chakra farming and wars. It sounded like madness. Conspiracy theories of a dying clan. The economy of despair. The cycle of harvest. This is nonsense, Sasuke muttered. Farming chakra? What is this? Keep reading, Naruto said. Section marked the observer. Sasuke scrolled down. He saw the drawing of the black silhouette. Entity Zetsu. Sasuke's breath itched. He knew Zetsu. The plan man? The spy for the Akatsuki. Tobi's lackey. He had seen the white one everywhere, and the black one occasionally. He thought they were just unique mutations or experiments of Orochimaru or Madara. The entity has been observed manipulating the text of the Uchiha stone tablet, the scroll read. Sasuke's hands tightened on the paper, crumpling the edges. The Uchiha tablet, left by the Sage of Six Paths, originally warned against the recreation of the chakra fruit. It warned that the merging of Uchiha and Senju power, Rinnegan, would open the door to destruction. However, we have observed the shadow altering the text using a high-level in release that mimics ancient stone carving. The new text reads, the merging of Uchiha and Senju power brings happiness. The infinite Tsukuyomi is the salvation of the clan. This is a trap. The Eye of the Moon plan is not salvation. It is a return to the cage. Sasuke stopped reading. His mind was racing, crashing against the walls of his own memories. He remembered the shrine. He remembered his father taking him there. He remembered Itachi telling him that the tablet held the secrets of the clan's salvation. Itachi, did you read the lie? You think I believe this? Sasuke stood up, shaking. You forged this. You want to confuse me. Why would I lie about that? Naruto asked. I'm terrible at lying, Sasuke. You know that. And look at the seal on the scroll. Look at the aging of the paper. That's older than both of us. Sasuke looked. His Sharingan analyzed the fibers of the paper, the oxidation of the ink. It was authentic. At least 40 years old. Zetsu. Sasuke whispered. The black Zetsu, Naruto clarified. He's not just a spy. He's older than the villages. He whispered to Indra to fight Azura. He whispered to Madara to fight Hashirama. And he whispered to the elders to isolate the Uchiha. Naruto took a step forward. Think about it, Sasuke. The Nine Tails attack on Konoha. That was the event that turned the village against the Uchiha, right? Because only a Sharingan can control the fox. Sasuke nodded slowly. Who released the fox? Naruto asked. Madara. Tobi, Sasuke corrected himself. The masked man? And who led the masked man to the village? Who told him the seal was weak during my mother's childbirth? Naruto pointed at the drawing in the scroll. The shadow. They framed us, Sasuke realized. The thought hit him with the force of a physical blow. They didn't just hate us. They used us to start a war. They needed the Uchiha dead, Naruto explained, channeling what he had learned from Kurama and the scroll. Because the Uchiha are the only ones with eyes sharp enough to spot the fraud. If the clan had survived, if Fugaku or Itachi had awakened the Rinnegan naturally, they might have seen Zetsu for what he is. So he had to wipe you out. Sasuke fell to his knees. The scroll rolled away from him. The narrative of his life, the tragedy of the Uchiha, had always been grand in his mind. A clash of titans. A political struggle between the Hokage and the coup. It was tragic, but it was human. But this made it small. It made Itachi's sacrifice meaningless. Itachi had killed the clan to prevent a civil war, to save the village. But the civil war had been engineered by a blob of black slime. Itachi had murdered his family to stop a prank played by a monster, a joke. Sasuke's voice trembled. A laugh bubbled up from his throat, a wet, hysterical sound. It was all a joke? No, Naruto said firmly. He walked over and knelt in front of Sasuke. He didn't touch him. He just entered his space. It wasn't a joke. It was a harvest. We are cattle, Sasuke. Me, you, the Kage, the Akatsuki. We're just livestock waiting to be slaughtered for chakra. Sasuke looked up. His eyes were bleeding, the Manjikyu pattern spinning wildly. Madara, does he know? The scroll says even Madara is being played, Naruto said. The infinite Tsukuyomi, it turns people into white Setsu. It doesn't save them. It kills them. Madara thinks he's the savior, but he's just a farmer. Sasuke closed his eyes. The rage that had been directing him toward Konoha suddenly had nowhere to go. It hit a wall and rebounded, amplifying 1,000 times. If Konoha was guilty of ignorance and fear, Setsu was guilty of everything. What do you want, Naruto? Sasuke asked, his voice dead calm. It was the calm before a catastrophe. I want to kill the farmer, Naruto said. But I can't see him. He hides in the ground. He hides in shadows. My sensory abilities are good, but they aren't eyes. Naruto extended a hand. I need your eyes, Sasuke. I need the Uchiha to do what they were actually meant to do. See the truth. Sasuke looked at the hand. It was calloused, scarred. He thought of Itachi. He thought of the years of manipulation. He thought of Tobi ordering him around. He hated Naruto. He hated his idealism. But right now, looking at the evidence of a cosmic humiliation visited upon his bloodline, he hated the shadow infinitely more. Sasuke didn't take Naruto's hand. He slapped it away and stood up on his own. I'm not your friend, Sasuke spat. I know, Naruto said, standing up too. And I will still burn Konoha to the ground for their compliance, Sasuke added. Ignorance is not an excuse. They still pulled the trigger. We can argue about that later, Naruto said. After we make sure there's a world left to burn. Sasuke deactivated his Susanoo. He picked up his sword and sheathed it. Where is it? Sasuke asked. The shadow. The main body is probably with the main army, Naruto said. But the ones pulling the strings, the ones funding the war, they are hiding. The daimyos, Sasuke deduced. He was sharp. He had read the section on the economy of despair. Yeah, Naruto nodded. The feudal lords. They're hiding in a fortified safe house near the Land of Frost. They're waiting for the shinobi to kill each other so they can balance their books. Sasuke turned his head, looking north. A cruel, sadistic smile spread across his face. It wasn't the smile of a revolutionary. It was the smile of an executioner. Rich men hiding in a castle while they profit from my clan's blood, Sasuke murmured. I think I'd like to pay them a visit. We go together, Naruto insisted. We need to interrogate them. Confirm the connection to Zetsu. Fine, Sasuke said. But try to keep up, loser. If you fall behind, I kill them all. I can keep up, Naruto said. The air around them shifted. The tension of their rivalry didn't vanish. It just changed direction. Like two storms merging into a hurricane. The intrusion. Setting. The fortress of the lords, border of Land of Frost. 3 hours later. The fortress was a marvel of architecture, built into the side of a glacier. It was protected by 5 battalions of samurai and elite mercenary ninja hired from neutral lands. It was supposed to be the safest place on Earth. 2 figures stood on a snowy ridge overlooking the stronghold. Subtle or loud? Sasuke asked. He was adjusting his gloves. Loud, Naruto said. We want Zetsu to know we're coming. Good. Sasuke drew his sword. Susanoo. This time, the avatar didn't stop at the ribcage. It exploded upwards, towering over the pine trees. It formed legs, armor, and a massive crossbow. It was a walking purple giant, glowing with malevolence. The alarms in the fortress began to wail. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! Is it the Akatsuki? No! A sensor ninja screamed from the wall. It's the Uchiha! And the Jinchuriki? Naruto leaped onto the shoulder of the Susanoo. He entered his Kurama mode, the golden avatar forming around him, merging slightly with Sasuke's chakra. Let's crack it open, Naruto said. Sasuke drew the spectral bowstring. Enten, Yasaka Magatama. 3 massive beads of black fire appeared, spinning like shuriken. Naruto added his own power. Futon Raisin Shuriken. He threw a massive spinning vortex of wind chakra into the black flames. The combination jutsu, the Scorch Release, Halo Hurricane Jet Black Arrow Style 0, though either of them named it that in the moment, screamed across the valley. It hit the main gate of the fortress. There was no sound at first. Just a blinding white light. Then, the mountain shook. The explosion vaporized the gate, the front wall, and 2 guard towers. The shockwave stripped the snow from the trees for a mile radius. Sasuke didn't wait for the dust to settle. He leaped from the ridge, the Susanoo dissipating as he fell, saving chakra. He landed in the courtyard, surrounded by terrified samurai. Where are the lords? Sasuke asked. He didn't shout. He didn't need to. He grabbed a samurai by the throat and lifted him up. The daimyos. Where are they? The central keep. The bunker. Sasuke snapped the man's neck, not out of necessity, but out of habit. Naruto landed beside him. He frowned at the dead body but didn't comment. Don't kill the targets, Sasuke. I know how to do my job. They tore through the fortress. It wasn't a battle, it was a massacre. The samurai's armor was useless against Chidori and Rasengan. The mercenary ninja fled the moment they realized who they were fighting. They reached the inner sanctum. A massive steel door barred the way. My turn, Naruto said. He formed a Rasengan, but injected a heavy dose of dense, physical Kurama chakra into it. Tailed Beast Bomb, mini version. He slammed the sphere into the door. The steel melted and buckled, blasting inward. Inside, the room was opulent. Silk tapestries, gold statues, a banquet table laden with food. And under the table, 5 men in expensive robes were cowering. The fire daimyo, the wind daimyo, earth, water, lightning. The rulers of the world. Sasuke stepped over the debris. His boots crunched on the broken glass of wine bottles. Gentlemen, Sasuke said, his Sharingan spinning. We have some questions about your accounting. The fire daimyo, a man Naruto recognized from magazines, stammered. You are the Uchiha boy. Whatever you want, we can pay. Double. Triple. Money, Sasuke scoffed. You think this is about money? Naruto stepped forward. We know about the ledger. We know about the black aloe. The room went deathly silent. The fire daimyo's face went pale. Not fearful pale, guilty pale. I don't know what you mean, the daimyo lied. Sasuke was on him in an instant. He grabbed the daimyo by his silk collar and slammed him onto the table. Look at me, Sasuke commanded. He cast a genjutsu. It wasn't a torture genjutsu. It was a memory dive. Sasuke rifled through the daimyo's mind. He saw the meetings. He saw the shadow in the corner of the room. He heard the advice given, start a war with Cloud. It will boost steel prices. Call the Uchiha. They are becoming too expensive to maintain. Sasuke saw it all. The callousness. The boredom. These men played with lives like they were chips in a casino. Sasuke pulled out of the mind. He threw the daimyo onto the floor. It's true, Sasuke said, his voice trembling with rage. All of it. They took orders from Zetsu to maintain profit margins. Naruto looked at the cowering men. He felt a surge of disgust so potent it nearly made him sick. These were the people the Shinobi Alliance was dying to protect? They aren't leaders, Naruto said. They're collaborators. We should kill them, Sasuke said, raising his hand, electricity crackling. Cut off the head of the snake. No, Naruto said. Why? Sasuke turned on him. Give me one reason why these parasites deserve to breathe. Because if we kill them now, the alliance falls apart, Naruto said. Chaos takes over. Zetsu wins because we'll be too busy fighting civil wars to stop Kagaya or whatever he's planning. So we let them go. No, Naruto smiled grimly. We take them hostage. The trap sprung. Before they could act, the floor beneath them turned black. Watch out! Naruto shouted. He grabbed Sasuke and leaped backward. The shadow beneath the daimyos expanded. It wasn't just a shadow, it was him. Black Zetsu rose from the floor, still attached to the white half. He looked at the two boys, his yellow eye narrowing. You are cleverer than I anticipated, Zetsu said. His voice was like grinding stones. Indra's transmigrant and Azura's transmigrant, working together? That hasn't happened in 1,000 years. We know what you are! Naruto shouted. We know about Kagaya. Zetsu froze. The name. He hadn't heard that name spoken by a human in centuries. The Uzumaki. Zetsu hissed. I should have burned that island deeper. It's over, Zetsu! Sasuke charged, Chidori screaming. Amaterasu! He launched the black flames. Zetsu didn't dodge. He sank into the floor, phasing through the stone. The flames hit the banquet table, incinerating the food. You cannot kill me, Zetsu's voice echoed from the walls. I am the land itself. And you have made a grave mistake coming here. The walls of the fortress began to groan. White Zetsu clones, Naruto sensed them. Thousands of them. They're surrounding the building. Let them come, Sasuke said, back to back with Naruto. I need to vent. We need to get the daimyos out, Naruto said. They are the witnesses. If they die, the truth dies with them. Fine, Sasuke grunted. But I'm taking the fire daimyo. If he tries to run, I'm taking his legs. The windows shattered. Hundreds of white Zetsu poured in, screaming like banshees. Naruto entered the fray. Multi-shadow clone jutsu, the room filled with orange. Sasuke unleashed the Susanoo ribcage, swinging his sword in brutal arcs. It was chaotic. It was violent. But amidst the blood and the chakra, there was a rhythm. Naruto covered Sasuke's blind spots. Sasuke covered Naruto's openings. They moved not as friends, but as two halves of a whole that had been separated for too long. The sun and the moon, finally aligning to eclipse the darkness. Naruto! Sasuke shouted, cutting a Zetsu in half. The roof! Got it! Naruto formed a massive Rasengan and punched upward, blowing a hole in the ceiling. Grab the baggage. Sasuke grabbed 2 daimyos. Naruto's clones grabbed the other 3. They leaped out of the fortress, into the cold night air, leaving the burning stronghold behind. As they landed in the snow, miles away, Sasuke threw the fire daimyo into a snowbank. This isn't over, Sasuke said, panting. Zetsu knows that we know. He's going to accelerate his plans. Yeah, Naruto looked at the moon, which seemed to be glowing brighter, redder. He's going to try to revive the Ten-Tails tonight. Then we have to stop him, Sasuke said. He looked at Naruto. For the first time, there was no hatred in his eyes. Only a grim, soldierly respect. We're going to the battlefield. And we're going to kill the real Madara. Naruto grinned. It was a sharp, dangerous grin. Thought you'd never ask. The land of frost lived up to its name. It was a desolate expanse of jagged ice peaks and permafrost that seemed to leach the warmth right out of the blood. The wind howled through the canyons like the ghosts of the thousands of shinobi who had died in border skirmishes over the last century. In a hollowed-out cavern halfway up a sheer cliff face, an old smuggler's den Sasuke had identified with his Sharingan, a fire crackled. But the warmth it provided was negligible compared to the chill in the room. Naruto Uzumaki sat on a crate of stale rations, his blue eyes fixed on the 5 men huddled near the fire. They were a pathetic sight. The 5 great daimyos. The lords of fire, wind, earth, lightning, and water. Men who wore silk that cost more than a jonin's lifetime earnings. Men who had never missed a meal, never slept on the ground, never felt the sting of a kunai. Now their robes were torn and stained with soot from the explosion at their fortress. They shivered uncontrollably, their teeth chattering in a rhythmic, fearful staccato. Sasuke Uchiha stood at the entrance of the cave, leaning against the cold stone wall. He was cleaning his kusanagi blade with a rag. The sound of steel rubbing against cloth was the only noise in the cave besides the wind and the chattering teeth. Please, the fire daimyo stammered, his face pale and waxy. We are freezing. Do you have blankets? Wine? Sasuke didn't look up. I have a fire. If you complain again, I'll put you in it. The fire daimyo shut his mouth with an audible click. Naruto sighed. He felt heavy. The adrenaline of the raid had faded, replaced by a gnawing emptiness. He looked at these men, these soft, round, terrified old men, and tried to reconcile them with the monsters he had read about in the Sanguine Scroll. We need answers, Naruto said, his voice echoing slightly in the cave. And we don't have time to play games. We told you! The Earth Daimyo cried, clutching his knees. We don't know anything about a harvest. We just manage the nations. We fund the villages. You fund the slaughter, Sasuke corrected. He sheathed his sword with a sharp clack. He walked toward them. The firelight danced in his eternal Manjikyu Sharingan, making him look like a demon from folklore. Naruto, let me peel their minds. We're wasting time talking. If you use the Tsukuyami on them, their brains will turn to mush, Naruto said. We need them sane enough to testify later. Testify to whom? Sasuke scoffed. There is no court above them. They are the law. The only justice here is execution. No, Naruto stood up. He walked over to the fire daimyo, Madoka Ikkyu. He remembered seeing this man fan himself at the Chunin exams, looking bored while Gaara crushed Lee's limbs. There is a ledger, the scroll mentioned it. A record of transactions. He crouched down, eye level with the Lord of the Land of Fire. Where is it? Naruto asked. I don't carry documents, Ikkyu trembled. I have scribes for that. Don't lie to me, Naruto's eyes shifted. The pupil elongated into a slit. A leakage of killing intent flooded the cave. It wasn't the wild, hot rage of the Kyuubi. It was a heavy, suffocating pressure, like being crushed at the bottom of the ocean. I can sense your emotions. You're terrified. But you're also calculating. You're thinking about something hidden in your robes. Ikkyu flinched. He instinctively clutched his chest. Sasuke didn't hesitate. He flickered forward, snatched the daimyo by the collar, and ripped the inner lining of his heavy silk robe. A black book fell onto the dusty stone floor. It wasn't a large tome. It was a pocket book, bound in a strange, textured material that looked like dried skin. It radiated a faint, cold chakra. Sasuke picked it up. Is this it? The fire daimyo looked as if his heart had stopped. Don't open that. He'll know. He will know. Who? Sasuke asked. Zetsu? The consultant, the daimyo whispered, his eyes darting to the shadows of the cave. The shadowless one. Sasuke opened the book. The Arithmetic of Death. Naruto moved to Sasuke's side, looking over his shoulder. The pages were filled with columns of numbers, dates, and names. But the currency wasn't real. Entry, year 48. Conflict, the Second Great Ninja War. Investment, 40 million Rio, iron/steel production. Return on investment, 400 million Rio, weapons sales. Projected casualty rate, 15,000 shinobi, 40,000 civilian. Actual casualty rate, 18,000 shinobi, 55,000 civilian. Note from the consultant, excellent yield. The despair index in Amigekure has reached critical mass. The Nagato project is proceeding. Naruto felt bile rise in his throat. The Nagato project. They knew, Sasuke whispered, his voice dangerously low. They knew about pain before pain even existed. They flipped the page. Entry, year 54. Incident, the Kyuubi attack on Konoha. Cost, reconstruction of village infrastructure. Benefit, political isolation of the Uchiha clan. Consultants note, the Uchiha are becoming problematic. Their eyes are too sharp. They must be stressed until they break, or are broken. Isolate them. Cut their police force budget. Incite the village populace to mistrust them. Daimyo's response, handwritten agreed. Reduce Konoha's annual stipend by 15% to force internal tension. Sasuke stopped reading. His hand trembled. The paper crinkled under his grip. You cut the budget, Sasuke said. He turned his head slowly toward the fire daimyo. You cut the village's funding after the attack, to force the Hokage to squeeze the clans. It was economic policy. Ikkyu shrieked, scrambling backward until his back hit the cold wall. The village was failing. We needed to create competition. It creates stronger soldiers. You created a pressure cooker, Naruto said, his voice hollow. You squeezed the village until the Uchiha snapped. You made the coup happen. The consultant said it was necessary. The water daimyo piped up, trying to deflect blame. He said peace creates stagnation. When the world is at peace, the chakra, it goes dormant. He said for the economy to thrive, the chakra must flow. And chakra flows best through conflict, through blood. Kurama's voice rumbled in Naruto's head, loud and disgusted. They were told to squeeze the fruit to get the juice. And you lot were the grapes. Naruto grabbed the book from Sasuke and flipped to the recent entries. Entry, Year 63 Current. Event, the Fourth Great Ninja War. Objective, unification of all chakra signatures. Consultant's promise. Once the infinite Tsukuyomi is cast, the daimyos shall be granted the first dream. You will rule a world of eternal pleasure, while the populace serves as the eternal workforce. You sold us out, Naruto whispered. You sold the entire human race. For a dream, Sasuke added. For a genjutsu. The lightning daimyo, a boisterous man usually, was weeping silently. He showed us. He showed us the dream. It was beautiful. No aging. No sickness. Endless gold. We just had to let the war happen. We just had to let Akatsuki collect the beasts. And what happens to the people? Naruto asked. The ninja? The civilians? They become part of the tree, the earth daimyo mumbled. They find peace too. No more pain. Just sleep. That's not peace, Naruto roared, slamming the book shut. The sound was like a gunshot in the cave. That's death. That's extinction. We didn't have a choice. The wind daimyo shouted. You don't understand what he is. The Black Aloe. He has been here since the founding of the nations. He whispered to my grandfather, and his grandfather, we are just the stewards. If we disobeyed, he would have replaced us. So you chose to be accomplices, Sasuke said. He walked over to the fire and kicked it. The embers scattered across the floor. The cave plunged into semi-darkness. Naruto, Sasuke said. I'm done listening. He drew his sword. The blade glowed with faint lightning in the dim light. Sasuke, wait, Naruto said, stepping between the Uchiha and the lords. Move, Sasuke warned. They aren't hostages anymore. They are enemies of the species. They agreed to turn humanity into white plant monsters in exchange for a lucid dream. I know! Naruto shouted. I want to kill them too. Kurama wants to eat them. But think, Sasuke. If we kill them here now, what happens? Justice happens. No. We lose the proof. Naruto held up the black book. This book is just paper. They can say we forged it. But them? Their memories? If we drag them to the battlefield and force Inoichi Yamanaka to broadcast their memories to the entire alliance, the war stops. The shinobi stop fighting Zetsu and turn on the real enemy. Sasuke paused. The logic was sound. Cruelly pragmatic, but sound. Broadcast their treason, Sasuke mused. Humiliate them before we execute them. Dismantle the system, Naruto corrected. If the shinobi see that their leader sold them to a plant monster, the concept of village loyalty dies. We can build something new. Sasuke lowered his sword slightly. You want a revolution. I want the truth, Naruto said. And they are the recording device. Suddenly, the ground beneath them lurched. Dust fell from the ceiling. A low, grinding rumble vibrated through the soles of their feet. An earthquake? The water daimyo squeaked. Sasuke's eyes snapped to the cave entrance. No. Chakra. Naruto sensed it a second later. It was a massive, singular signature, but it felt like it was made of millions of smaller, writhing lives. They found us, Naruto said. Underground, Kurama warned. Fast. Crack. A massive wooden root, thick as a redwood trunk, smashed through the floor of the cave, obliterating the fire pit and throwing the daimyos against the walls. Get back! Sasuke shouted. He activated his Susanoo instantly. The purple skeletal ribs flared into existence, shielding Naruto and the screaming lords from the falling debris. From the hole in the floor, white shapes poured out. But these weren't the standard white Setsu clones. These were different. They were larger, their bodies covered in spikes, their chakra denser. The special forces, Naruto muttered, entering his chakra mode. Black Zetsu must really want his book back. The Siege of the Frost. The cave was too small for a fight of this magnitude. We have to take this outside. Naruto yelled over the roar of crumbling stone. The cave is going to collapse on them. Grab the trash. Sasuke ordered. Naruto created 5 shadow clones. Each clone grabbed a daimyo, slinging the protesting lords over their shoulders like sacks of potatoes. Sasuke, blow the wall! Chidori! Sasuke charged the lightning in his hand, the sound of 1,000 birds shrieking filling the confined space. He lunged at the back wall of the cave, blasting a hole straight through to the outside slope. They burst out into the blizzard. The scene that greeted them was a nightmare. The mountain face was crawling. Thousands of white Zetsu were climbing the sheer ice cliffs like a swarm of ants, and floating above them, standing on a massive wooden dragon that protruded from the cliffside, was a figure. It wasn't Black Zetsu. It was a swirly Zetsu, Tobi's strange armored suit, but possessed by the Black Will. You have property that belongs to Mother, the Black Zetsu's voice boomed, amplified by the wind. Return the stewards. Return the ledger. Naruto landed on a ledge, his clones forming a defensive circle around the shivering daimyos. Sasuke landed beside him, the Susanoo forming a complete upper body now, holding a spectral blade. Come and take it, you weed! Naruto shouted. Foolish children, Zetsu sighed. You think knowing the truth changes the outcome? Power dictates the future, not facts. Zetsu waved a hand. The mountain rumbled. Wood style, deep forest emergence. From the ice and permafrost, a forest exploded. Trees grew instantly, twisting and gnarled, rushing toward the ledge to crush them. Fire style, great fire annihilation. Sasuke didn't hold back. He spat a massive wall of flame, fueled by the intense chakra of his new eyes. The fire collided with the wood, creating a massive steam explosion that blinded the sensors. Naruto! Move! Naruto and his clones leaped, using the falling trees as stepping stones. We need to get them to the Alliance. Naruto yelled. That's south. We'll never make it carrying this dead weight. Sasuke retorted, slicing a Zetsu in half that tried to jump him. Naruto! Kurama barked. Use the chains. The Uzumaki chains. You can't carry them and fight. Seal them. Seal them? Naruto asked, dodging a wooden spike. Put them in stasis. You can carry a scroll easier than 5 fat men. Naruto's eyes widened. Right. The scroll from Uzushio had a stasis seal. It was risky. He had never practiced it. But he had the theory, and he had the bloodline. Sasuke! Buy me 10 seconds. I'll give you 5. Sasuke stopped retreating. He turned to face the swarm. His Susanoo shifted. It grew legs. It drew its bow. Amaterasu, flame control. He fired a volley of black arrows into the oncoming horde, creating a wall of unquenchable fire. Naruto landed on a flat rock. He dumped the daimyos in a pile. What are you doing? The fire daimyo shrieked. Shut up and hold still. Naruto bit his thumb. He slammed his hand onto the ground, summoning a blank scroll from his pouch. He channeled his chakra. He visualized the feeling he had in the waterfall, the adamantine chains his mother used. Golden sealing style, cargo stasis. 5 golden chains erupted from Naruto's back. They weren't spectral, they were solid chakra. They lashed out, wrapping around the 5 daimyos. No! No! I command you to SD, Zayip. The chains retracted, pulling the daimyos toward the scroll. Their bodies contorted, turned into streams of chakra, and were sucked into the paper. In an instant, the 5 men were gone. On the scroll, 5 kanji appeared: fire, wind, earth, lightning, water. Naruto rolled up the scroll and strapped it to his back next to the sanguine scroll. Done! Naruto shouted. Their luggage now. Good, Sasuke panted, the Amaterasu wall beginning to fade as Zetsu's wood style overwhelmed it. Now we can fight for real. The architect of pain. The battle turned from an escort mission into a slaughter. Without the liability of the daimyos, Naruto and Sasuke unleashed hell. Naruto entered the fray with his clones. Massive Rasengan barrage. Hundreds of clones slammed giant spheres of energy into the cliffside, sending avalanches of ice and Zetsu bodies tumbling into the abyss. Sasuke was a surgical knife. He moved through the swarm, his sword flowing with Chidori, cutting down the elite Zetsu variants. He used the Bansho Tenin, universal pull, an ability of the Rinnegan path he was beginning to intuitively grasp thanks to the proximity of Indra's chakra, to pull enemies into his blade. But the numbers were endless. They keep coming! Naruto yelled, kicking a Zetsu in the face. They are made of Hashirama cells, Sasuke noted. They don't get tired. We do. High above, Black Zetsu watched. He was annoyed. The boys were stronger than his projections. The synchronization between the Ninetales and the Uchiha was problematic. It reminded him too much of the time Madara cloaked the fox in Susanoo armor. I must separate them, Zetsu calculated. He channeled chakra into the mountain itself. Earth-style, mountain sandwich. The two massive cliff faces on either side of the gorge began to close in. It wasn't just rocks falling. The tectonic plates were moving. He's crushing the whole valley. Naruto looked up. Susanoo won't hold that weight, Sasuke assessed quickly. It's millions of tons. We have to blast through, Naruto said. Combine our attacks? Do it. Naruto began to form a tailed beast bomb. Sasuke began to charge a massive Chidori, compressing it to a single point of black lightning. Ready? Now! They launched their attacks not at the Zetsu, but straight up, at the closing jaws of the mountain. The tailed beast bomb and the onyx Chidori spiraled around each other. Wind and lightning. Yin and yang. Scorch release. Halo Hurricane Jet Black Arrow Style 0. Minato would have been proud of the name. The beam of energy pierced the sky. It hit the closing rock faces and vaporized them. A tunnel of light blasted through the collapsing mountain, creating an exit vector. Go! Naruto and Sasuke shot through the hole they had created, riding the updraft of the explosion. They burst out of the canyon, landing on the high plateau of the Land of Frost. Below them, the canyon collapsed, burying thousands of Zetsu under billions of tons of rock. Silence returned to the frozen wasteland. Naruto fell to his knees, panting. Maintaining the Kurama mode and using that much power was draining. Sasuke sheathed his sword, wiping blood from his cheek. He looked exhausted, his eyes reverting to black. We have them. Naruto patted the scroll on his back. The ledger and the lords. We survived, Sasuke corrected. But Zetsu is still active. He's retreating, Kurama sensed. His main body is moving underground, heading south. Toward the graveyard. He's going to Madara, Sasuke said. He knows he failed to kill us. He's going to wake up the big gun. Naruto stood up, the cold wind whipping his torn jumpsuit. Madara Uchiha. The real one, Sasuke nodded. Not the masked fake. Naruto looked south. He could feel the chakra of the entire world trembling. The war was reaching its peak. If Madara wakes up, Naruto said, he's going to wonder why the infinite Tsukuyomi hasn't started yet. And Zetsu is going to tell him it's because of us, Sasuke smirked. It was a dark, challenging look. We're top of the hit list, Naruto. Good, Naruto grinned back, though his eyes were serious. I have a few questions for Madara anyway. The quiet interlude. They found shelter in a small pine grove a few miles away to recover some chakra before the final sprint to the battlefield. Naruto sat against the tree, the black ledger in his hands. He opened it again. He found the page regarding his parents. Entry, year 54. Target, Kushina Uzumaki. Status, Jinchuriki. Action, weaken the seal during childbirth. Tip off the masked man. Objective, release the Ninetales to reduce Konoha's military assets and create a vacuum for the Uchiha persecution. Cost, minimal. Naruto ran his thumb over the ink. Cost, minimal. His mother. His father. Their lives were a line item. An adjustment in a spreadsheet to balance the chakra books. Sasuke watched him. He saw the grief, but he also saw the resolve hardening. Burn it, Sasuke said quietly. What? Naruto looked up. Burn the book. We have the lords. The book, it's just poison. No, Naruto closed the book and tucked it into his pouch. I'm going to read it to Madara. I want him to know. Know what? That he isn't a god, Naruto said, standing up. That he's just an employee. Naruto looked at Sasuke. Hey Sasuke. What? Thanks. For back there. You could have let the rocks crush the daimyos. Sasuke looked away, staring into the dark woods. I didn't save them. I saved the ammunition. Sure, Naruto smiled faintly. Whatever you say. We move at dawn, Sasuke said, closing his eyes. The final battle is starting. I can feel the Ten-Tails chakra shifting. It's ugly. Yeah, Naruto looked at the moon. Let's go end the era of shinobi. Scene break. The graveyard. Deep in the mountains of Graveyard, Kabuto Yakushi stood before a coffin. He was smiling, his snake-like skin pale in the torchlight. It seems plans have changed, Kabuto hissed to himself. The Zetsu army has taken a heavy hit in the north. The Jinchuriki and the Uchiha survivor are cooperating. The lid of the coffin began to slide open. A hand, gloved in red armor, reached out and gripped the edge. Cooperating? A voice, deep and resonant, echoed from the box. That is unexpected. Madara Uchiha sat up. His eyes were closed, cracks running across his reanimated face. He cracked his neck. Where is Obito? Madara asked. Why am I being revived by this filth? And why is the moon not yet red? Complications, Lord Madara. Black Zetsu emerged from the ground. The boys have found the Sanguine Scroll. They have the feudal lords. They know about the harvest. Madara opened his eyes. The Rinnegan rippled purple. They know? Madara chuckled. It was a low, terrifying sound. How amusing. They think knowing the truth will save them? He stepped out of the coffin, his armor clanking. Knowledge is only power if you have the strength to act on it, Madara said. Let us go. I wish to see this new generation who thinks they can rewrite the script. He looked at Zetsu. But Zetsu. Madara's eyes narrowed slightly. Why did you let them find the scroll? Zetsu bowed low. My apologies. The Uzumaki hid it well. No matter, Madara walked toward the exit, his fan in hand. I will burn the scroll, the boys, and the world. The dream waits for no one. Behind him, Black Zetsu smiled. A smile that didn't reach his eyes, because he had no eyes, only malice. Dance, Madara, Zetsu thought. Dance until mother wakes.